Welcome to my apartment tour. Come on in. As you can see, I'm all ready for spring. I chose to decorate a little early. So this is my apartment. So I'll take you a tour and I'll show you some of the things I've done and some of the things that I'm still working on. But right over here to my left is the kitchen area. But just before we'll get there, I'll show you my entryway. So here's where I throw my keys right when I come in. This was here when I moved in, and it is in the perfect location. So I never leave my keys except for one time I did, but that's okay. And then this right here is my mail catcher. So it's where I put my mail. Matter of fact, this is some stuff I have to return to Amazon. And then this right here has a dual purpose. So everybody knows that right now we're living in COVID times. And so Omarion does homeschooling. So when he's here and he's doing remote school, this is his desk. But it also has a multi-purpose because this is also a makeup stand. So this part right here opens up and I have all of my makeup inside. So it has a dual purpose. And then underneath here are just some different supplies. A lot of it is journals because, as you know, I'm a writer. So I have tons and tons of journals everywhere. Over here is where we have our little snack station. In fact, this little caddy here, I've gone on a bit of a creative binge and watching tons of YouTube. So this is actually something that I made from a couple of baskets and a paper towel holder from Dollar Tree. So I'm actually kind of really proud of it. And so it holds all of our snacks here. So this is the first place that Omarion goes when he comes here. And if we're being honest, this back place is the first place that Janet goes to when she comes here. So we're built up with snacks. These are my bar stools, which I have to admit I haven't actually used that much since I've been here, but I love the way it looks. Like having a little station to eat by the kitchen was really something that I was excited about. And so hopefully I'll use it more often. Come on into the kitchen area. So it's a small, quaint kitchen, but I like it. So there's not a lot of storage. I'm a heavy water drinker, and so I go through water like that. And so there's not a lot of places to hold water bottles. So I just have some right here out, but I also have them stocked in the bottom drawer. So this is the refrigerator. As you can see, I need to go grocery shopping. That's a goal for this weekend, but for the most part, I can fit a case of water in the bottom. And then over here, we have some of my pantry supplies. And so I like it. I've kind of been really organized with this. So I have baskets of everything, and so that I can take it out if I need to pull anything out. And I have to say, I've been eating pretty healthy and regularly, so it's been good. And then over here, this is another hack that I came up with. And so you all know the Lazy Susan. Well, this is the remix. So I just took 2 cake pans, and in the bottom of one of the cake pans, I put some marbles or some beads. And so now I have my own rolling Susan, and so I can do all of my seasonings and I can see them whenever I need to pull them out. And then I still have some more extra storage at the bottom, which right now Omarion is in love with the strawberry banana smoothie drink, and so that's where it goes. Matter of fact, the other day he came to me and he said, I see where the extra stash is, so he's really excited about it. Up here is some more snacks, and so we love chips in this house, especially me and Omarion. We love chips and hot sauce, and so he knows exactly where to go whenever he wants anything. Here are just some goals and some words of affirmation for this year. And then over here I have some pictures to hang up on the fridge. This is actually one of my favorite pictures. It's the more recent time when we went to see the Soul Circus and they had their 25th anniversary. I think I had more fun than Omarion did, but I'll show you more pictures in a bit. Over here is the kitchen area, and so we have all of our kitchen utensils here, and then here is just some more supplies. So I broke everything down. Here are some of the things that I use to make some of my drinks, some of the Ziploc bags, kitchen utensils, cereal containers. And then this is just more baking supplies or extra supplies here. And so I love this kitchen because it has a lot of storage for what it is. And then here is where all of my glassware is, and so plates, and then we use all of the stands to give extra space. And so we have some here, and we have some dishes that have to go away, but it's pretty practical. And then we have our microwave and our stove over here. This is traditionally where people, I think the owners made this here to put their spices, but I decided to use it for my vitamins. All of my vitamins are here, so I call this my vitamin station. So whenever I need my gummies or anything, I just come right here. And here, what I did here was the drawers are really, really narrow, and so I ended up finding these drawer dividers, and so that's what I use to separate my utensils, and it kind of works great. Over here is just my basics. So I have some scissors, which I'm always using in the kitchen, my can opener, and some clips for the chips. And then these chargers here actually go to the blender that I have up here, and so I just keep it handy for whenever I need it. So that is the kitchen, and so we're going to continue to go forward. So across from the kitchen is this closet space. And I must admit, when I walked in and I saw this closet space, I was in love because I needed tons and tons of space. And while this may not be tons for a studio apartment, it is. And so I love this closet area. And so what I did is I ended up making the most use of it. So here is where I have a lot of my clothes, but then here I changed into a supply caddy. So this is one of those shoe containers, and so at first I was like, how can I use it? But then I just ended up stapling it to the door, and it works perfectly. And so I keep all of my cleaning supplies here. On the other side, I made this like a glasses station, so all of my sunglasses, and then during the winter hang all of my gloves, so make the most space of the doors. And then on the inside, on the bottom, since New York no longer gives you plastic bags, I have all of my bags here, and so whenever I need to go out the door, I just grab them. And then up here is more, this looks a little messy, but it's actually pretty organized. In the back, I have some of the gift bags that I use, some of my hair supplies, some light bulbs. And so I try to keep it pretty hand ready. So if I need to grab anything, it's right there to go. We'll talk about the up storage in a minute, but I want to show you the other side of the closet first. So the other side of the closet, we have some more of the shoe caddies. So these are all of my shoes. And then on the other side, this is my worker station. And so, like I said, I've been doing a lot of crafts since I moved here. So we have tapes, we have glues, we have different staple guns and glue guns. So this is where I go to whenever I need some of my supply crafts. And then here is where I have most of my coats and then my sweaters. And then on the bottom is where I have all of my shoes and my boots. The top shelf is just housed with a lot of my pants or my jeans and some outerwear. So I have socks and things like that, hats and gloves up there. So they're right there to be grabbed. The next cool thing about this closet system, I'll grab my handy dandy step stool, which gets a lot of use in this house, but I'll show you a bit of what's up top. And so this was another important part of this apartment because it just added to the storage. So I don't know if you guys saw, but for the Christmas season, I had decorated the apartment with a full 6-foot Christmas tree. So this is all of my Christmas supplies. And so I have everything up here except for the tree. So you have the wrapping paper, you have all the stuff in the bins, and it's clearly organized. And so I love that I was able to put it in one place. And so that's something that I was concerned with, but it fit perfectly. On the other side of the upper storage, I have, so these are some clothes that I'm not wearing right now, so I just have them in the space bags to minimize the space. I have some extra bins that I can use, and then over here is where I have all of my extra cleaning supplies. So I constantly go in here, and then when I need it, I can put it into my supply caddy down here so that it's right on hand. So storage has definitely been a good thing in this apartment. And so next we're gonna move on to our living room. So now from this angle, you can see the living room. And so this living room area is definitely something that I've been working on. So we'll start with this area over here. Like I said, we have to make use of all the space. So here's where I keep my little supply cart or my shopping cart for whenever I need to get water. That's the main thing I use this for. And so it's really, really helpful. And I keep it right in this nook. And since it's gray, it kind of goes with the decor. Up above it is where I get the intercom for downstairs. And then when we look over here, we'll pretend that all the picture frames are straight. I see one that's a little bit crooked, but that's okay. It's covered with pictures of family members. And what I really love about this is that it's the image of like a clock. And so time spent with family is worth every second. And so I like the idea of having pictures of family. And I've always been a picture person, so this was a great way to encompass that, but still give it a specific purpose. And so it looks like a clock. Underneath it, we have our couch, which is the shape of an L section, which I love in itself just to maximize space. But to make it even better, this part of the couch, this section comes right out, and so it makes it into a full bed, which Omarion loves. Like, he doesn't believe that section is ever supposed to be pushed in. As far as he's concerned, this couch belongs to him. Now, this little table here is actually a stand-in. I had an original table, but it wasn't as sturdy as it needed to be. So I decided to make this the use for right now. So right now it's holding a decor piece that I made. And so I just took some baskets, spray painted it gold because that's one of the colors for the house, and then used this nautical rope and then put all the different pieces together. But this is basically used to hold some of the pieces. So it has some inspirational frameworks underneath it. It holds the remotes to the TV and to the fireplace and some of my coasters. Now, across from the couch is this bookcase. And so I love this bookcase. Originally, it had a backing to it. And so I was gifted this bookcase. And so I love it so much. And I've been able to, like, I've gone through a few different styles with decorating it. But this is the ultimate conclusion. So at the top, I have some extra bins, which provide more storage. In between the bins, I have some Power Women. So we have Ellen Pompeo from Grey's Anatomy. If you know me, you know how much I love Grey's. Next to it, we have First Lady Michelle Obama. We have Beyonce, and then we have Kamala Harris. So just showing different women of power. And by the way, we're celebrating Women's History Month. And then underneath it, I have some inspirational pieces. So it says, wish for it, crossed out, but work for it. So truly put in the work for what you want. I have some different art supplies that also serve as decor pieces, kind of make everything multifunctional. Then underneath it, I have, in here, I just have some business cards, but this is a great tool right here because it holds all of my storage, my chargers, or a lot of the ones that I use on a daily, so I keep that here. And then these are the books that I've already read this year. So one of my goals for this year is to read 24 books. And so far I'm about 6 in. One of them isn't here right now. Now, one of the other things that I'll show you, because one of the things I'm really working on is really being organized. And so in here is more craft supplies. So here we have some additional chargers and electronics. And then here is my little handy dandy toolkit. So it has all of my hammers and my wrenches. Here's tons and tons of screws for whatever I need to fix around the house. Here's some extra bins and things like that, some screws, some wood corrector, and so just keeping it there. Next to it, we have my fireplace. And so this fireplace is electronic, so when it gets a little chilly, I'm able to turn it on, but for right now, it's actually kind of warm in here, so I just have the image on, and so I really like it to add that extra piece. And then above it in here, I'm not going to show you this. This is just some extra books that I have, so I use that as additional storage. Up top here is books that I have on deck. And so these are books that I'm picking from. So once I finish the current book that I'm reading right now, I'm reading The 5-Second Rule. And so once I finish that, these are more books that are on deck for me to read. Over here is more decor. So we have, it won't be easy, but it will be worth it. And then some more symmetry to match over on the other side. And then these are some books that I have that I'll get to throughout the year. Over here is my art station. And so I have different little art pieces that I'm working on. So like these are some things that eventually I might swap out some of the things that I have on the bookcase now. Here's just some magazines for when I do vision boards. All of these are like little bookcases that I found. And so I use it as a place to store things, to keep things organized. And so it's been really fun using this as a art case. Right, the last thing I'll show you before we move to the office area is this light fixture right here. And so I actually have 2 of them. And so I really love these because, as I said before, space is so important. And so not only is this a light, but it also serves as my end table. So I'm able to add a few pieces to this and really maximize its usage. And I love it because it's really modern looking. So now we're going to go on to my office area. So this area right here is my office. So we have my computer, which right now, the other day, I was doing a project and I needed to lift the monitor, and so I ended up lifting it by putting it on some books. Eventually I'll get a monitor stand, but I ended up putting some books on it to raise the monitor, and I love it because I kind of like the way it looked right there. So right now it's just standing on some books to raise the camera a little bit, since I do a lot of Zoom calls for work. Next to it, we have my printer, because with Omari I do homeschooling, or at least remote schooling. I do a lot of printing when he's here. And then behind it, I have some bulletin boards, and so it just has some, one of the things I'm doing this year is I'm reading the Bible a lot more. So one of the signs you'll see, it says, "Don't be sour," and that's just talking about waiting on God for him to deliver and don't jump the gun. But these are just different things that I do throughout the year, and this is one of my calendars. So every month I go through, and not only do I do a digital calendar in Google, but I also do one on my wall so that I can hold myself accountable. Over here is just some of my vision boards for the year, and also a pain board in case I don't do what I need to do. Like, these are some of the consequences that I'll have to suffer if I don't do it. So really just a year of stewardship, accountability, really pushing forward is where we're going next. So this over here is my dining room table, featuring yet another Joshelle DIY. And so this DIY is just something that I put as a decor piece. And so when I was selecting a table for this space, family is something that's really important to me. And so I wanted to be able to hold at least 6 people. And so that's a little bit big for a studio apartment, but I found this one, and this one really works. And so right now I have it facing on this horizontal angle, but before, when it was Christmas, I actually had a 6-foot Christmas tree over here. And so I just changed the table to be this direction, and it was no problem at all. So it gives me a little bit of flexibility if I need to move it. Next, we're gonna flip the camera and we're gonna look at this area over here. And so this area over here is my divider. So I live in a studio apartment with an alcove. And so this was my way of dividing the apartment and providing the open public space and separating it from my personal space. And so one of the things that I did is I put up this this curtain rod. And so this curtain rod, and so one of the issues that I encountered is that the ceiling is made of concrete, and so we couldn't drill into it. And so I ended up using some of the command strips and just gluing that to the bottom of the rod and holding it up there for like a minute or 2 minutes each. And it's been surprisingly strong. Of course, on my fingers because I don't want it to fall on me now, but it has been really strong. And then I just used these see-through curtains, and I added the curtain lights to it, and I love it. And then the fact that it's right across from the computer makes it also serve as a backdrop that I also love, and so it has multiple purposes, and so I really love that. And so the next thing we'll do is we'll continue the tour into my bedroom area. So once we open up the curtain, then we have my living space. So over here, I just have a long table that I absolutely love. And so I just use that in lieu of a nightstand, because over here I have another plant. And then that just holds all of the essentials that I go to grab. Above it, these shelves were originally in this corner that I'll show you in a little bit, but we moved them over here to be right above the bed. And I have to admit, I love it. It reminds me of such like an island feel. And so I love that it's right over the bed. And so above it, I just have words of affirmation: thankful, grateful, blessed. Do something today that your future self will thank you for. And above it, you may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. So different things that motivate me and that keep me inspired. And then we have my bed right here. Next to it, remember this from over there when we first looked up above the storage? This is that same step stool, but because my bed is able to elevate to go up and down, this is the perfect height for it. So I keep it right here, and it's almost like my nightstand, and I just love it right here. So it holds the remote that turns on the lights for the curtains, the remote to adjust the bed, and then these right here are my melatonin gummies that I use right before I go to bed. And then behind it is a little greenery that I have from IKEA, which means that it doesn't require water, which I will show you. Let me come over here. I didn't show you before. I have my own little garden. And so I am attempting to get a green thumb. So we have tomato, basil, and daisies. I had sunflower didn't make it. But these are right here in the sun. So I do have some real greenery. And then we have some greenery that loves me either way. And so I'm really happy about that. Now this next piece over here is my storage system. And so this didn't come with the apartment, but we added it in, and I can tell you that I love it. So like this over here is like my little closet space. So it's an open walk-in closet. See, I remixed it. So up here, I just have space for some of my bags. So I hang it here. Below it, this is what I call my drying rack. And so it's a built-in drying rack. So whenever I have clothes that need to be washed but can't be dried in the dryer, I hang it right here before I go to put it away. And then below here, I have some of the space where I put some of my laundry. Eventually, I'll probably get a closed laundry bin, but right now, this works. And then up here, I have different tops, different sweatsuits. This is Marian's station. So he comes over here and he hangs all of his stuff or puts his shoes away when he's here. And then right here, we have a little bit of my pop-pop because where I go, he goes. And so always here. This is another hack that I have. So this is some extra wrapping paper that I had from Christmas. So what do you do with wrapping paper when you don't need it no more? You put it in a garment rack so it takes up less space. And so that's another system that I have. Some suits for church. And so like that's my little closet system. On the other side, I have my other closet system. And so this was the closet that came with the apartment. Underneath, I have some of my vacuums and my Swiffer. When I first moved in, it was hardwood floor, but we had to put in carpet to muffle the sound. So I used to use the Swiffer a lot more, but that's there. Up here is some of the products that I use throughout the days. And so I have them all sorted and labeled. On the other side of the closet, I won't open that, but I'll give you a quick look. This is just where I have some linen. Right now I'm in the process of doing laundry, so it's all to be folded. Up here it's just body wash, and then on the bottom is where I keep my luggage. Haven't been anywhere yet, but eventually I'll get there. And since the closet doesn't have any lighting system, I just added these little push lights. So whenever I need light, push on, push off. Right next to the closet is this full-length mirror, which is hanging on the back of the bathroom door, and it also serves as some more storage. And so once we open the door, this is the bathroom, and so it's nice and small, but it does its purpose. So we have some shelves up here that hold some supplies. On the top shelf is some of my supplies. On the bottom shelf, we have a Marianne's caddy. And then we have our sink over here. We have a mirror. It doesn't have a medicine cabinet, but it does its purpose. We have a little sink with some soap and some lotion dispensers. Underneath, we just have some more storage. So we have some cleaning supplies, some hair supplies, some extra paper towel and toilet tissue. We have a few extra cleaning supplies next to it. On the other side, we have this little supply caddy, which is packed with stuff that we use throughout the day. And then on this side, we have our little shower. And so that's the entire apartment. I hope that you enjoy. Bye.